Fielding has brought this up before, and we've talked a little bit about it, but like this Yo Mike's guy, he caught my attention.
The U.S. government announced that we are definitively not alone in the universe.
Like 9 foot, 10 foot tall. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes, they have big eyes.
We are currently witnessing events that are making us question our very existence. So my question is, what does the Bible even say about this? Well, the book of Revelation talks about a time when this great deception will come upon the earth. This will tie in with this beast system which will dominate the earth in the last days. People will actually worship this beast, making it their new god. And this just blows my mind. Because this same exact thing has actually already happened before. You see, once upon a time, these beings of light came down from the sky much like today. They taught humanity all sorts of knowledge, so we ended up worshiping them as our gods. See, these beings were actually called the Anunnaki by the ancient Sumerians. And you've probably... Project Bluebeam is this crazy.
So, he's like tying it into like the Anunnaki and
right.
Project Bluebeam is so... And it makes sense that it would like repeat, right? So I don't know where you guys were thinking about that. And then even when you think of like this great deception in the Bible, we believe that there'll be false prophets.
Right.
Well, that would be what a false prophet would do, probably, with the technology that we have now, and
right.
So,
and how easy to sway people with something that's a miraculous religious experience.
Yeah, especially with like the pullback. Like, there's been a fight against all things spiritual and all this stuff, and then you just pull this little.
Yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden there's like the triple God, which is that's from Project Bluebeam, that in theory they're going to have all of the gods be one,
right,
and perform miracles and appear in the sky, and I can see that being a pretty powerful, deceptive thing for a lot of people, especially the people that have decided, well, organized religion's not for me, so I'm spiritual. That group of people that are like open to it, but they don't have any like foundation.
They'll be the first ones.
And then you see, a literal miracle in the sky. You're like, oh, okay.
Well, that's what
I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's the evidence that they want.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. So two things. First thing on that video, he briefly you could hear it, and he showed on his video the transcript from the 911 call.
Yeah.
Do you know the full story behind that?
No.
Okay, I'll give you a quick summarized version. So basically, I can't remember what it was. It's like Arizona or somewhere else. But essentially what happened is they got a 911 call. Someone had called and basically
said Vegas.
Yeah, okay, you're right. It's Vegas. I remember it was in the desert somewhere.
Yeah.
But anyways, he makes a phone call and he says, hey, there's a crashed ship in my backyard. And there's people coming out of the ship. And they're 9-10 feet tall, slender, big eyes. He's describing everything, right? Well, and of course...
So hold on, time out. This is an actual 911?
This is a real 911 call, okay? Now,
this was a year and a half ago?
Yeah, it was fairly recent. And so
How is it that I know some of the things that the girls on The View talk about, but I haven't heard of the 10-foot aliens?
I was just thinking, you haven't heard this?
I haven't even heard of it.
Yeah. So then...
There was
Goldberg.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so basically, what ends up happening is, they get a phone call, and if you think about your 911, responder or whatever, you're answering phone calls. I'm sure they get weird phone calls. Sure. So I'm sure that's
it's just some cracked out person.
Yeah. But then
yeah, sure.
Police dash cam in that same vicinity, you see the police cars driving in the dash cam, and here comes this blue, shining, looks like a meteor. Goes
like a blue beam almost.
Well, yeah, it looks like a blue ball. And it just comes in and it looks like it's going to land in the neighborhood.
What?
And then the cop's whoa. So then after that happened, they lined up the times, after that took place is when the 911 call took place. And then he's talking about these beings coming out, and it's scaring them, and they're upstairs looking through their window, and they're all right, lock your doors, all this stuff. And then the police arrive, but by the time the police get there, they get back in their ship and take off.
Because there was,
and I know there's more to the story, but that's
footage from the family that was next door, and it's in Spanish, so you don't. I don't know what they're saying, but people, basically they were saying that they're it's back in there by the gate, and you can see the group as they're holding their phone in, But they're like scared, and then one of the kids up front like jumps and runs back and is like pointing to it. And you can't really see anything, and that's what's hard about it. But it's like they're describing exactly what like they saw, that there's tall creatures back there. And they're like, it's right behind, there was like a big truck back there. And they're like, it's right behind that. And then people have taken the video and they're like, you can see it, and they highlight that looks like something's walking behind the fence, which is where that kid like jumped and ran back from.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they're tall like that. I mean, it's
far
really
away
interesting.
from gravity, so they grow taller.
Yeah, dude.
Here's the other video, the second part 2. I like where we're going with it too. So I want to.
These beings were actually called the Anunnaki by the ancient Sumerians. And you've probably heard about this topic 1,000 times, but we just call them aliens. What blows my mind is if you just read the Book of Enoch, you'll quickly realize that these Anunnaki, or aliens everyone keeps talking about, are referred to as fallen angels by Enoch the entire time. Now, how does this tie in with Project Bluebeam? Well, much like ancient Sumeria, there are beings coming down from the sky today, probably coming to bring us knowledge and understanding. You see, these aliens are actually angels, and we have understandably mistaken them to be extraterrestrials. Ladies and gentlemen, you have my deepest condolences, because we are at the very start of the end of the world. These beings...
Sick catchphrase at the end.
Yeah. I like
No, he does a good job like dramatizing it and stuff. You got that music going. But it is pretty interesting to me that, in the beginning of my life, and I'm older, obviously, than you guys, like, Aliens was on television and movies, and it was weirdos. And it's still like War of the Worlds level stuff, I mean, we still talked about War of the Worlds and how crazy that was. And it was before the Tom Cruise version. I'm talking about the radio program.
Yeah.
Of
course.
Just making sure.
Yeah, Tom Cruise one was rad.
Yeah. That came out in 1912? 19...
It is.
War of the
Yeah,
Worlds
I think it was,
thing?
It was in the radio?
It was like my 13th birthday. 1899. Hey, sidebar, one of our listeners, shout out. I won't say your name because you're a professional, so I don't want to ruin your career.
Yeah, careful.
But his grandpa was born in the 1800s.
No way.
And he's like 8 years younger than me.
How does that work?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
His parents
He
must
might
have
be
been old.
no, he might be more than that. Maybe 12 years younger than me. Yeah, crazy, huh?
That is crazy.
Yeah. Anyway, so that joke, don't say that around him. He'll be offended.
Okay, we'll try not to. Whoever this person is.
Yeah, whoever.
We'll
Yeah.
try to. We'll try.
But
to.
it is interesting when you're talking about like this type of thing. Like now it's like you talk to people like alien. I mean UFOs at least, not aliens necessarily, but UFOs are for sure real. Everyone believes that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the government's like, they're real.
Right. We don't
And there's
know.
hundreds of hours of video, and now it's
Yeah.
like, well, did I just go to work still? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's
so weird.
If I don't know, so this Project Bluebeam thing kind of like stands out to me because it's like, we've been progressed down this line of like getting primed for something.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what's scary, because when you first are like into the conspiracy world, it's all like nonsense when you're talking about it.
Yeah.
Because it's such a far-fetched thing. But now it's like pretty mainstream, which if you grow up in the conspiracy world, that's a bad thing if it's mainstream, because it seems like they're teeing us up for something. And so
Right.
Project Bluebeam's like exactly that. Now everybody's like, oh yeah, of course. So now when they see something, it's like, yeah, we're ready for this. Like, we'll know exactly what to do when we see the
Not even Joe Rogan's just like,
shit
well,
return.
just show us we're ready. They don't think we're ready. We are ready. It's like,
Yeah.
we probably are now, but I don't think my grandma was ready.
No, and
She probably would have been freaked out.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think a lot of people who say they're ready would still
Like lose their shiz.
they would still panic, because it'd be a scary thing. And I wonder if like back in the time where like the Bibles and all the fallen angel stuff, if that was more like mainstream back then, that was like fallen angels, like, yeah, that's normal. We know that there's beings that live above us and they visit us sometimes.
Right.
And now, like in our modern age, we're taught like, no, we're alone in the universe. We're so rare that we exist. And so they've like erased the alien angels from history. And now they're starting to seed it back into existence and setting us up for then a trap.
Yeah. And so some of the things we need to probably do a deeper dive on Project Bluebeam, but it's being carried out by NASA, the United Nations, and New World Order elites. Not New World Order from the WWF.
Yeah, not those guys.
Not those guys. Those guys were rad.
Yeah, they were cool.
But no, the bad New World Order, which is weird when you think of that clip of like George Bush. Have you seen that?
Which one?
Senior.
Than one small
we
country.
are at a point where we can
It is a big idea.
Oh yeah.
A
And
new
it's like
world order.
he's like just saying it out loud.
Yeah.
And but they'll get this. They have holographic technology that'll create a simulated alien invasion. Mm-hmm. Everything will be like really bad, and then we'll all unite because it's like, well, now we were wrong. Mm-hmm. Race doesn't matter. We don't need to worry about reparations. We have aliens coming. We don't have to worry about Russia. Let's all be friends because we have to fight these aliens. So now
that's that quote from that cowboy who was an actor. President
Reagan.
Yeah. He gives a talk and he talks about like how would it be if alien threat showed up? How all the differences that our world has would be gone overnight, and we would unite to defend against this thing.
It's the same concept as like what happened after 9/11 or after Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, and I was just like listening to Toby.
Galvanizes all the population. Everyone's like, beforehand, you meant like, I'm not going to wave a flag outside my door. The Supreme Court didn't, agree with me.
Yeah.
And then after 9/11, dude, it was like everywhere you went, everyone's like,
people were nice in traffic even.
Yeah. You're like fist button, like, yeah, USA, Yeah. You do that on a world scale. Dude.
So then the plan is they unite everybody.
Yeah.
And then they use these same holograms, these projectors, to put religious figures like Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, and broadcast them into the sky.
Yeah.
So that they'll literally be,
so crazy.
In different ways according to what the different beliefs are for those people. But then they're going to somehow, using the media, I guess. I don't know. It'd be tough. Media's not like as unified as it once was. But
yeah,
the messaging will be that they're all the same. So even now the religions are like, well, I follow Jesus. Oh, you follow Muhammad? Oh, it's the same person. How do I know?
They saying,
I just saw them like they were all together, or they're all one entity.
Yeah.
Either they're on the same team, or they're one entity. Depending, I don't know what it is.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, both. Are they same? Like they merge to one entity, or are they like we're serving the same purpose?
Yeah.
Just at different times, and then it just got twisted by human error. To be what it is today, because that's an easy thing to toss up to like, oh yeah, well, over translation things got lost, and that's why religion seems so dividing, when really it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be uniting, and everybody's great. And then they just come back and say that, and we're like, oh
yeah. It makes, obviously to me it would make more sense if they were like separate, but I've read both, and the whole thing's kind of cuckoo as far as like the scale. Like whoever like imagines these things and then be like, yeah, let's download monday.com and throw it in the project management software.
Yeah.
What's the arc? Like 100 years? Who are we involving? Like 200,000 people?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big project, right?
Yeah.
But it even gets bigger because they're going to have voice to skull technology.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that means that
They're already working on that.
Yeah, you won't be on your phone. You'll just all of a sudden you'll hear
a voice,
the spirit.
Yeah,
but it'll be the government
telling
you things, and you will have they'll have holographic projections of people being raptured.
Ooh, I've not ever heard that part.
Yeah, so like you'll be on the freeway
and trippy,
and then there'll be eyewitnesses. It's like I was
all
driving down the freeway.
This people,
and I saw these people go up, and so they're gonna take everyone's like these core beliefs of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Put it around, and then people are like, "Oh, this must be it. This must be what I'm waiting for." Again, this kind of has been a theme on here, but I'm gonna say it again, dude. Follow the prophet. That's what we need. It's like I'm gonna be like, "What's he saying?" But that's gonna be me. Everyone find out for yourself. But even natural disasters, so earthquake machines, storm seeding, electrical storms that are created by human beings that are big enough to start forest fires.
That's already happening.
It's already happening, but the reason it's happening now, according to
Project
a
Bluebeam.
very reliable internet.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
It's is that the World
It's where I got all my
Wide Web?
It's where I got all my facts from.
Yeah, it seems
But
solid.
according to this, that's why we've seen kind of an uptick in this because they're dry running the
testing
the final
things out.
product.
They're ramping it up.
So, I mean, if you were to take like a hurricane, add in some extra lightning storms, throw in some earthquakes, and it's all happening in the same weekend, and then all of a sudden, Muhammad, Jesus, and Buddha come flying across the sky in a chariot, and then everyone gets raptured.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a pretty convincing display.
Well, think if they hit it during the Olympics or like
Ramadan,
the World
where
Cup, something that's like
everyone's
all
going to Mecca or
eyes,
something.
right? All eyes are on a specific point.
Yeah.
You're right. It's sad. I actually sidebar. It probably wouldn't be a religious thing. It'd be like imagine if it was during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's
It's like the halftime show.
Imagine in the sky it's Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, and Taylor Swift.
he comes in doing the Heisman and he just floats down.
Yeah.
Or it's like the opening part of the Super Bowl, and instead of F-22s, it's them flying.
Yeah.
Dude,
But,
I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of crazy to think, and then
wild.
they have. So I have a friend who told me that listen to this. This is a sidebar from us talking about this. And this is real. He wants to theoretically invest in this project where there's this thing that can project advertisements on the clouds. So like you're like, I want to sell ads.
Wasted
space.
opportunity.
Well, where's the so like it's a cloudy time and you're like you want a 2-mile banner of your new gym. All right, yeah, we'll do it. And it's like, and it just literally cast up there.
That was pretty smart.
Yeah. So that technology exists,
Yeah.
and that's consumer level.
Yeah, not
imagine
military
That's not
grade.
military grade aircraft carrier electricity generated. I mean, so I'm like, it was funny because you had told me about Project Bluebeam first, and I've been kind of obsessing about it since. And I'm literally in my car listening to like Wi-Files about it or something, and I get a call, and he tells me about this thing, and I'm like, well, you could have this thing that you could just hold in your hands, and it'll project like a 2-mile like billboard in the sky. Yeah. Totally. And I'm like, that's weird. I was literally just listening to this
You're like, I'm not gonna
massive
say
conspiracy about this seems so far-fetched.
And here's like this evil tech. And then you're like, well, I project my clock onto my ceiling at night.
Yeah.
And then this
Just
guy's
pretty
like,
cool.
I'll just project ads.
Yeah.
Dude,
Make
that's
income
so
from
crazy.
it.
I guess my only question is like, I mean, because projections, we know projections like, like what was it we talked about, like ABBA and how they did their concert and it was like super real. I don't know. I mean, if it's just projections at some point, what does that look like? Do they project like a real person? Like what they look like? So that way when I'm like, oh man, like if I got fooled by that, I'm like, man, I want to go meet Christ. I want to like, talk to him. And then
become a Mason.
Well, probably.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. They'll just have filtering things and other mind control things, and if you're too much,
I'm sure
they heard that you said that, and then they're going to use the powerful voice to school technology to just be like, Daniel, shut up, don't doubt it. And you're like, I felt something on my lip.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. That must be the
my
spirit.
gosh,
So
dude.
I don't know. I mean, there's going to probably be a lot of people who don't buy it, and those are the people that get, I guess, really raptured,
erased.
old school style.
Yeah. Because I'm sure there's ones that are like, they're not going to buy into it.
Regardless.
Like they're just not.
Like 20% probably.
I feel like probably that's me more likely than
Hilarious.
not.
Ironically.
Yeah.
Fielding,
I
like,
would be
hold
like,
on. This
hold
is
on.
too far
Because what I would
fetched.
joke about it, like an alien shows up, I'm going to be the first one to be like, well, hold on, guys. Like,
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
let's not get ahead like this. Like, who wants us to believe that there's aliens, right?
Yeah.
Like, the government's been telling us, so, like, they're
Dude,
not
alien
usually
invasion,
the good guys.
that part sounds exciting. Because if it's just holographs, dude, that gives me an excuse to just pop off some rounds in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just shooting wildly.
And I'm just like, oh, aliens. Yeah, that'd be.
Dan will hear the voice in his head and be in his ghillie suit in like 3.5 minutes.
It's like, Daniel.
I need to start
returned.
practicing that more.
Yeah.
Like, set an alarm but don't know the time, tell my wife to set it. Yeah. And then I wake up in the middle of the night, have to run, get my body armor on.
Drilling.
Yeah.
I might have to, dude. That's creepy stuff.
So, I mean, in summary, I thought that was pretty interesting. And you know, even if it's not Project Bluebeam, I would say that we got to be careful with all of this information. We have so much information now. Strip down your beliefs to what you really believe. And I know we talk a lot of crazy stuff here.
Yeah.
Don't even believe us. Just what do you really believe? What is your actual goal? And do your beliefs align with what your actual goal is? Do you want to be a good husband? All right. Does believing this stuff help? If it doesn't,
right, yeah,
you can talk about it and have fun with it and cast it aside. Do you want to be wealthy? Okay. Does this stuff help? If it doesn't, cast it aside. Yeah. Just focus on the stuff that's actually important, and then even when Taylor Swift appears in the sky, we don't have to worship her. So.
Yeah. Crazy. Cool. Well, you guys have been watching Connect the Dots. Big shout out to Travis Fielding, coolest cats you'll ever meet. Grateful to have them on the podcast. And as always, like, subscribe, follow us on social media. Big announcement, actually. Our website's live.
Ooh,
so check it out.
Merch.
It's going to show up just like right here. It's conthedot.com.
I can see it from this angle.
Yeah. And if I turn it.
Is that Project Bluebeam?
It is, dude. This isn't even photo editing. I literally.
Yeah.
It's there.
I'm projecting it as a hologram.
Philly, get out of here.
It never gets old.